So it happens in different ways for different people. Maybe one day you wake up and realize that the relationship you've built your life around isn't healthy for you, doesn't fulfill you. Maybe a child of yours dies of a drug overdose or dies in a car crash. Or maybe you just slowly find yourself sinking into a kind of depression that you don't know how you got into and you don't know how to get out of. Maybe a pandemic comes along and totally tosses your life into upheaval. Maybe you lose your business. Maybe you lose your parent. Maybe you lose everything you thought gave your life meaning and purpose. Anyway, some kind of devastation happens that you know as soon as it hits, your life is never going to be the same. And for me, I can't tell the whole story, but basically, after working for 10 years to fulfill someone else's dream, to fulfill Lou Soterio's dream, working to raise money to make this project, working to produce the film, working to make good on financial promises to my whole community, to virtually everyone I had ever known, or very close to it. One day, almost 10 years into this process, everything collapsed. I received a call from a state regulatory agency saying basically, what are you doing? Because it had come to their attention that this guy in Vermont was raising millions of dollars from hundreds of people, and they didn't know anything about it. So suddenly, everything that I had been working to try to do, keep up with payments, honor my what I considered to be sacred commitments, sacred promises to investors, to finish this film, to release it, to bring it forth so that everyone would be repaid. This whole process, which had gotten crazier and crazier and more ungrounded, but I was still working to keep those plates spinning and keep everyone paid and keep things working. It all came crashing down. And when it did, I naturally turned to the person who had promised me that it would not come crashing down, that everyone would be repaid, and that everything would work out, and that we were working with divine laws, and divine laws would never fail us. And as soon as the proverbial shit hit the fan, or not quite as soon, but very shortly after, he disappeared. And so I woke up in this reality where I owed millions of dollars to hundreds of people. And I had taken on these investments based on the promises of someone that I trusted and believed in. And it was suddenly very clear that he was not at all who I had believed him to be. This was the most devastating and baffling and just split my life open, split everything I had believed open, and I did all the things that people do in such circumstances. I tried harder and harder to make it right. Okay, if I believed in something that's not going to work out, but I'll find something else. I wrote a book, I wrote a novel, I got together with investors against the advice of my lawyers, and I tried to explain that I would do whatever it took to, so this didn't work out the way that I had promised and the way that I had believed it would, but I would spend the rest of my life, if I needed to, writing things and writing books and doing whatever I could to produce creative works that would pay them back. And I came face to face with a reality of life that sometimes there really is nothing you can do. No matter how determined you are, no matter your best intentions. Sometimes you have to simply sit and face the devastation of being completely wrong.